I met Pari Natarajan, I think 2 weeks back. There are two people he said I must meet, or a conversation. Whenever he comes to Hyderabad, we meet. So he said one was Ruben Madan, and then the other was Swami Manohar. Both are doing something around kind of skilling, reskilling, education. Madan around the whole trying to tool, I shouldn't be calling retool, school dropouts from the rural space. And then like Dr. Swami Manohar, given what he is otherwise serial entrepreneur, ISC professor, well-known, highly recognized, he's trying to fix, as in his case retooling, as literally uneducated as the engineering graduates can be, right? Talking about the whole talent. And he's trying to figure out how good ways of having experiential labs that helps engineering students pick up. So two people I was supposed to meet on my next visit. I get a chance to listen to Madan, not just meet. So I will say hello to him. I think like Ritika said, the first video or the second video of Ramesh was extremely humbling. Very, very humbling. So compared to what like Madan and his company is doing, what many of us are doing are like nothing. So I'm in a different space, like Ritika said, trying to share some of my, I would just wayside observations, I would call. I mean, here and there, I just get into the ring and do something, but for the most part, I'm an observer outside the ring in the startup ecosystem. Like I tell all my friends and anybody that ever mentioned that you will one day be an entrepreneur, I will never be an entrepreneur. That's for sure. I'm a professional now, and like sometime in the next few years, I'll quit. I will be in the ecosystem, but never an entrepreneur. So these are some ringside observations of the best possible entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country, maybe in the world, Hyderabad. So it's, like I said, a journey, discovering the whole, the creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurial ecosystem, both partly within the larger companies, organizations that I've been associated with, and other organizations that I've observed, but mostly the startup ecosystem. So, I mean, I grew up amidst like highly intellectual, like Ritika said, my dad used to work for ISRO. Almost all of my schooling up until high school, I got out of high school, was in Sririkota. And like, I've seen the first SLV3 launch. I've seen the first SLV3 failure. Like, I mean, it was an unbelievable experience. I mean, the whole colony, it's about 1,000 families, almost everyone intellectual. I mean, everyone, like, at least it's one of those colonies where, like, most of them are engineers. I mean, one of those organizations, in fact. And it's a highly intellectual families, and still failure is a failure. And we know like what our dads and the parents, their spouses worked hard. And when we saw the first SLV3 launch kind of go, and then at the second stage, we could see it's in the sky and it's not that far high. And then it just kind of came down. The whole colony had a sullen look for the next few days. It was like a morning, even in the school. I think I was in like 5th or 6th, I don't remember now. And like, and the same, I mean, the next launch, when it was successful, it was as exhilarating, it was more festive than the most festive festivals, like Diwali or Holi. And that's the kind of environment I grew up, so I get excited. When I see like a successful launch, and I get excited. When I go from school, we were there, so we used to often be taken on school trips. While others go elsewhere, our school trips are always into the complex, because the residential complex colony was away from right at the beginning of the island, and we can't go by ourselves inside. And like, so it's on school trips that we go inside. And I still remember the first trip to the computer center. And this was, again, 6th or 7th. And so it's a huge facility. This was in the early 80s. And one of the largest computing facilities in the country was with ISRO, many of them. And this was one of them in Sririkota. And so we went, and like we were given all the big boxes inside, air conditioned. I mean, we haven't even seen air conditioning for the most part until then. The whole building was air conditioned. It was an unbelievable experience. And then I still remember we asked someone, like, can we ask the computer questions? And he said, yes. So we started asking arbitrary questions, and one guy kept typing, and the computer kept responding back. And any question, like it was we were just so wowed, and like we went back, all this 11-year, 12-year-old kids, like all excited, wow, the computer talked back to us. And then it's only a few years later, we knew that someone was on another terminal on the other side, and a human was responding. But so, and anyway, so it was an amazing experience, like all the way through school. Like I said, the teachers, everyone is like, the whole environment was unbelievable. I didn't know, I've seen very little of the world at the time, until I got into college and then met all my friends and the backgrounds that they came from, some from like rural background and from all over the place. then it seemed like amongst my friends, me and one of my closest friends, my schoolmate from a long time, classmate, college, also roommate, he was with Honeywell for a long time, Honeywell R&D. We both realized that like we are one of those exceptional few, exceptionally opportunity, I mean, in terms of gifted opportunity that we had where we grew up. And everyone else had a very, very normal, what I thought was normal, actually only in college I realized that it is not at all normal. It's an extremely rare opportunity, and that's where we grew. That was my, so the whole probably, I don't know, at a subconscious level, ideas and like a rocket getting launched, or just looking at one of the launch stations, or looking at the rocket, we could go see the rockets before they kind of get lifted up, a few days before they launch. I mean, for us it was all granted. But those are all extremely, I think we were extremely fortunate to have those opportunities, but those do excite. And at some level, I think that stayed latent. And I see today, like, when I meet an exciting person, when I meet someone like Madan or listen to what he is doing, I get very, very excited, hyper excited. So one more round of applause for Madan and what he's doing. Like most disillusioned teenagers, it was downhill from there for a long time, right? It was college, and like first year I realized that it was a good college, a university college, and I was doing what I was doing in school, and unwittingly, without even realizing, I ended up being one of the college toppers. And like most engineering college, the first year is common. So that's where your flags, all your territory turfs get established. After you're on each branch and nobody knows what you are. And it got established. I was one of the top, I think, third or fourth in my college. And though I was, as for the admission ranks, I was probably somewhere around the 30th or 40th that got into the college. And so my turf got established. Then nobody knew that I almost failed in my final year subjects. But even in the final year, the impression was that I'm one of the rankers in the college. And thankfully, nobody other than my immediate classmates knew how bad I was in the final year. And then it's the usual routine. I mean, you just go through, after first year, you get disillusioned, movies, like go out, friends, eat. Fortunately, we're not drinking yet, all through my college. But just about everything, every other distraction possible. And even then, I used to be very active in the activities. I was active in like IEEE. It was not about IEEE. I realized that like it was not technology that excited me, just the fact that we could do something. So the IEEE as a club excited me. And though I put it nicely in my resume saying like I was IEEE chair and all that, but I don't think even today I'm as far from technology as possibly I could be, though I talk a lot. It was just the act of doing something, organizing events, conferences, those are more exciting. And, but intellectually, academically, it was downhill. Then the first job, Ooty in Konur, it was a Tata and Westinghouse invested company, and perfect setting. But unfortunately, most of the people that were hired were fresh from college. So just unfortunately for my intellectual pursuits, it ended up being further downhill. It was just an extension of hostel life. And went to the US for some time, came back, and I said, like, I have to work for a small company. So for the first time, I tasted work for Integra Microsystems here in Bangalore, and like small company, a small group, building a database product from scratch. Like it was for a Norwegian client. In fact, it was a 4-member team, plus the Norwegian, the person who owns that company. He used to spend 6 months here. We built a database server from scratch, a 5-member team. Okay, the server never saw the light of the day, never saw the light of the day in the market, but 2.5 years, it was like an experience. I think that's where the whole product foundations got sown. I mean, it was an experience, like I said, though the product didn't go anywhere. Then the US bug bit, so went off to the US and came back. And of course, you go to the US, you do more of the routine stuff. And it was just, like I said, it was main ring. It was exactly like this rocket. It just kind of going all over the place, for the most part, downhill. And then I came back, 2000, that's when the first time I had a taste of a startup. So I came back, I heard about Pramati when I was still working for informatics in the US, and I was very impressed. There was a company right here in India, right here, I mean, here meaning not here, it was in Hyderabad, the best place for startups. And I'll keep reminding you through the next 10, 15 minutes. And it was an unbelievable experience. I just joined just after the first round funding from Citibank, and we are growing, and I joined to head engineering in Pramati. And it was like any startup. It was as startup as any startup could be. Amazing, unbelievable founders, both the founders. Till date, they still run the company. They've done some amazing stuff in the last 15 years or so that they've, since they started the company. And like unbelievable team, like any startup would have. Very, very high caliber, high talent team. And we did good stuff. We beat in the certification, there was a big certification, Java certification. We beat WebLogic, IBM, Oracle, all of them in their certification. There was a race actually. Oracle CEO and BA CEO publicly challenged each other at the Java 1 that year, 2001. And in December, we beat both of them, and we were the first to get certified. It was a completely new implementation of the server-side Java. Anyway, it was a rush. It was a great experience, and the experience building the brand. We were all there. We were getting paid well, good work and everything, but somewhere at the back of our minds, or even in the front, was this fact that we are building an Indian brand, technology brand from India. And which was the common thing, and many of us are still very close friends. In fact, some of my colleagues are still here from that time, today, in the room here. And so very, very close friends, and that was the whole shared emotion was that we were trying to build something exciting from India. And when we go, but this cartoon captures, this is a cartoon that came in serverside.com, which indicated there was a performance race after the certification in 2002. Again, we beat WebLogic, IBM, and Oracle, all of whom were trying to get into that benchmark submissions. And this cartoon captures that, which was a very, very widely known cartoon at that time. So you can't see, I'm sorry, couldn't get a better one. So we are in scooter, and all the others are in Ferraris, and BA, Oracle, and IBM are in sports cars, and Pramati is in a scooter, and Pramati wins the race. And so truly that's how it was. We created an unbelievable technology brand. In terms of the branding, even today I would be surprised if there's any technology company that's got that kind of brand in that space. Like in Bay Area, if anybody knew more than 2 app servers, they would know Pramati, anywhere in the world. And they knew more than 2 Java app servers at that time. And that's how much of a brand recognition Pramati had 2002, 2003. But unfortunately, we got caught in the downturn. And so we couldn't raise the 3rd round funding. We got the 1st and 2nd rounds, and then just after 2nd round is when the 9/11 happened, the whole recession so we got badly squeezed, and we just kept financially getting worse and worse. And through that is where this at the bottom is where we got in the relationship with Progress. And one of the products was licensed by Progress, and also half the team was acquired by Progress, and that's how I moved to Progress. And the good thing is, from that point, which was a low point in Pramati, where there were probably 30 people left, and Pramati has since grown. Just recently, 2 months back, Pramati inaugurated a facility which is 1,000-seater facility in Hyderabad. And completely around products, homegrown and other products. Pramati works with a lot of startups. And so it's very, 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 very reassuring and encouraging to see how much Pramati has come since then. And then some of us moved to Progress. And that's where I got a taste. Though I'd worked in MNC companies earlier, but for the first time up close in some senior leadership role, watched how a company creates products and new products. And it turns out it's not too different from, in fact, at some level it is worse than what a startup does. Right? Large company bureaucracy is very, very stifling. But still I saw how it works in spite of all the impedances that the system introduces, how companies build products. And more importantly, this is something very personal for me, what value India Labs can bring. Many of you here, I'm sure, work for multinational companies, and there's always a secondary nature and secondary treatment to the India Labs. And so that was another revelation in how bad it can be or how intense it can be and what it takes to overcome. I would not say we overcome yet, but we are at a point where 2-3 years back, when there was an initiative in the CTO office to invigorate or reinvigorate innovation in the company. So this person who was the CEO of one of the companies that we had acquired went off, spent 2-3 months looking at the company, all groups, all engineering sites, different product groups, and all functions. And a few months later, when he presented his findings to the CEO staff, it turned out the only place there was grassroots innovation happening in the company was in our Hyderabad labs. We didn't even realize that. We were doing it for our own reasons, to excite the engineers, to build some idea prototypes, and though we knew by then CTO office was interested, all the PM organization was interested, and the senior architects, they're all engaged with us as we pick ideas for the summer idea prototype. We use interns. But we didn't realize that was the only thing happening. So it turned out the only grassroots innovation happening in the company was in Hyderabad. This was 3 years back. If anything, we've got better since. And so that's it. Some of the excitement around what we were doing in Pramati, though it was a startup, the reasons we were doing it was different. Here, the shared goal between me and my leadership team was to make sure we are the best engineering site for the company. There are 1.7 sites. And alongside, I got also associated with Triple IT. And so I've been adjunct faculty for a very long time. In fact, 2 weeks later, I will be starting the next semester. 13th year, I'll be offering the course. I offer 2 courses. And so the 2 letters I cherish the most. One was in 2005. I was a guest faculty till then. 2005, one day I get a letter from Triple IT, and I was surprised. I don't expect anything from Triple IT. I open, there's a letter from the director saying I've been accepted as an adjunct faculty. Accepted is not the right term. I've been whatever. I think maybe it's accepted, it's not a job, as adjunct faculty. And I had to call someone to find out what that meant. I didn't know what that meant. And so I still have that letter preserved. I value that more than even my degrees probably. And the second most cherished letter is like a few weeks back, I get a letter again from IIIT where I've been invited to join the academic council. So it's a long association. I cherish it more than anything else, more than any of my professional associations. And I give back a lot. As much as I've got, I make an effort to give back. And through the association, I've started working with students. The first exposure to new startups was like 2006, 2005, 2006, when alumni startups from IIIT, when they go meet the professor and they want to talk to someone in the industry, they would refer them saying, okay, you can go meet Ramesh, one of our faculty, adjunct faculty from the industry. And I started meeting startups. So the first taste, I used to work for a startup, I've seen the founders close, but still it was in a different role, different capacity. So 2005 is when I started meeting startups, first time. And then like within the next few months, I met a few more alumni startups and like slowly started getting into the startup space. And one of these startups that I met, the founders and like me, the three of us, we were chatting one day, they told about Barcamp. This was early 2006. And I asked, what's a Barcamp? They said it's happening in Bay Area and a few other places. I'm not sure how many of you have been to Barcamps. They haven't happened for a few years now. But 2006 to 2008, there were a lot of Barcamps, ad hoc unconferences. And so we said, okay, let's do it. So we did one of the earliest ones in India. The first one had happened in Delhi. Second one, the same day, happened in Chennai and Hyderabad. And then that led more. I mean, Barcamp, the very format itself is an exciting format. People coming and like just writing your topic on the whiteboard and have 15 minutes to deliver a talk. And it was pretty, the whole format was such that it was getting geeks and even startups. And after a few years, about a year and a half, somebody noticed the startup angle to the Barcamps and then like brought all the Barcamp organizers together, 16 of us, and we formed Head Start Network. So few of them, like two of them here and one in Mumbai, got all the organizers together. And like Head Start Network was very active. We used to have the annual Head Start event, 2007, 8, and 9. In fact, 2009 happened in Hyderabad. So it was an event for early-stage startups, showcasing startups, enabling and networking startups. And it's a pretty good network. It's a national network. For a while, we lost momentum along the way, but now last one and a half year, we've picked up. There are more things happening. And the whole purpose is to enable early-stage startups. Happens in multiple cities. You must have heard of Startup Saturdays. But there are other things also that the Head Start Network does, purely volunteer run, completely. Everyone has a day job. And like, it's a very extremely helpful aspect in the startup ecosystem. And Startup Saturday is one major event that Head Start organizes. So we were doing it in IIIT already, like for a few months for students, early 2008. And when Startup Saturday started in Bangalore and for 1 or 2 months went off well, then someone reached out saying, can we do it in Hyderabad? So we just converted the IIIT event for students into an open event. And like for a few years in IIIT, then we moved to another location in the city. It's a very, very well-known cultural event for cultural and other events, venue for events in the city. And it's an outdoor event. You can see the picture. And it's like the different cities took different form. In Hyderabad, we decided like we're going to stay completely focused on early stage startups. So we do it every month. A bunch of volunteers. Nobody knows who's running it, but it's a bunch of volunteers. And all the incubators are involved, IIIT is involved, TIE is involved, BITS, like ICSA Knowledge Park. In some form, everyone supports, Hyderabad Angels is involved. And like, so anyone, I can get any speaker, because I'm not associated with any commercial organization. And if on an SMS, I can get a speaker. Like any speaker in Hyderabad, if they're in the technology space, even whether I know them, I don't know them, I can get them to come and speak at a Startup Saturday or any other event we organize, TIE or IT Association event. And so it's an unbelievable event. There's extreme strong support. And we stay focused. Every month we pick a theme. There are 5 or 6 startups, early stage startups that are kind of, there's an exposition of startups, then few inspirational speakers and few investors. And the key part is to get everyone to know what's happening in the startup space. And that's how I know for a fact we have 1,500 startups, which I'm sure Bangalore doesn't have. Yes, I'm sure it doesn't have. So one other thing about Hyderabad ecosystem is like the network effect that is created there in that ecosystem is like, it's a bunch of very nice, well-meaning people at the helm of different companies and like helm of different organizations. And like, ever willing. So the amplification that happens, the network effect created by all these organizations, which are normally silos, is like something that seriously and significantly amplifies the whole enablement that happens in Hyderabad, especially in the last 3-4 years. And there's the IT Association of AP, which does a lot of technology events, seminars, and such. And from there, we also do an annual showcase and awards for startups. It's a big event. The last time we did it, the convention center, like it's a 2-day event, not just the awards. Awards is part of a bigger IT event. And we had about 2,500 people attend. And of whom almost 2,000 were paid registrations. It's a big event, and we do the showcase there and the awards. Actually, the finalists present at the event, and then we announce the awards, best startup. So it's very, very well recognized. It's been going on for almost 5-6 years now. Startups. We do an early stage TIE event called TIE Smash Up. It's for early stage startups called Startup Smash Up or Startup Ecosystem Mashup event, and there are many others. So there's a very strong support ecosystem building there. So through all this I'll just take a few more minutes, Ritika. I'll just go over time. It already says time out. Came a major revolution in terms of dealing with students, startups, incubation centers, academic incubation centers. Till then, we talk about talent, right? I mean, we talk about the talent gap that we have even as an industry when we hire. But what is appalling is the system that creates that kind of poor talent. It's not that they don't know or they don't want to know. I mean, they're all sharp minds, very, very sharp minds that just come out of colleges knowing nothing. It's just the system, starting from definitely in the junior college, but often even in the high school and earlier, we just hammer any sense of creativity or out-of-the-box thinking, we just hammer it out. It's a bad thing. We use nice, cushioned, soft mallets, but we do use mallets and hammer out any of those things, and we want everyone to be a perfect circle that can go crack the JEE, unfortunately. And in that process, the same circles come through the college and then kind of go down, and they remain the same ball, completely useless, meaningless ball that's got some fantastic content inside. But that's all we get. And then we go train a little bit, and then we can put them for routine jobs. But then you ask them to go innovate and create, they just cannot. They've just lost that. It takes some time. The innovation and creativity cannot come through training and such. It has to come through stimulating, inspiring, right? I mean, it's sad. I mean, I'm sure any of you, if you go and look at your teams, most of them, they would be very smart. They're, I'm sure, very, very capable of creative thinking, but they just don't. Because it's years and years, and unfortunately the formative years, where they should have gone, played sports, watched movies, got into trouble, and did everything along with studies. From 8th or 9th, all we make them do is study. And so the whole balanced outlook and growth is gone. And that's what we get in the industry at the end of the day, right? And when you go to the startup ecosystem, that's the kind of people, some of them kind of outliers, high energy, high entropy, get out of the system and want to start, but all their abilities are numbed. And they have to kind of rediscover. So it's a very sad state, and but something, so which is where after I kind of discovered that some years back, so all my efforts and many other like-minded people amongst the industry leaders and society leaders in Hyderabad, so we're trying to do whatever we can, at least to change it in a small way in Hyderabad. I mean, we can't change solve the hunger and poverty in the world, but in some small way, try and change it. It's a mindset. I mean, it just starts from school, definitely in college. It's a mindset change. And right now, just this week, a few days back, we had the final demo of a 6-week startup prototyping workshop in BITS, organized by a group called Hyderabad for Innovation. It's a very informal group. We took NEN's help, TIE help, and it's a 6-week workshop where we kind of got a lot of submissions. We picked 17 shortlisted teams that went through a 6-week startup prototyping workshop. So we had initially, first week, a lot of workshop sessions and such, and then they prototyped a startup in the 6th week. They just had the final demos a few weeks back. So we're trying to do many things and parallelly create a support ecosystem for startups that actually start up. So there's many things happening. I'm not going to go into all the details, but there's something we are creating. So on one side, support system for startups, and on the other side, work with engineering colleges and see if we can bring about a mindset change. So academic incubators are the key. So that's where, at least personally, I'm working with a lot of academic colleges to set up incubators. So IIIT is already 5 years old. BITS is starting. IIT Hyderabad has started. And there are many more, a few more colleges that are going to start. So just trying to use that as a change agent and then create some excitement and get some of them at least to change. So this is the Idea Carnival, the event I was just talking, by this group called Hyderabad for Innovation, which includes the directors of IIIT, IIT, BITS, and ISB. And few very well-known leaders like Srini Raju, Srini Koppulu, BVR Mohan Reddy from Hyderabad, 14 of us in the group. And we're just trying, we meet every month and try, whatever in a small way, whatever we can do, try to bring about this change. And the workshop at BITS happened through this initiative. So I'm looking forward to my childhood coming back, and this time it should be the startup ecosystem that is soaring high. Thank you.